Good morning, folks. Happy June. Can you believe it's June already? It is amazing that it's June already. I wanted to update you. I thought I had written a blog post, but evidence definitely seems to lend to the contrary of me having written a blog post. You may recall a few weeks ago, I showed you a video from Reverend Otis Moss from Trinity UCC in Chicago asking you to defend the National Museum of African American History and Culture against what appeared to be an attack from an executive order. And I said that the church would match your donations and Francine and I would match your donations. So I wanted to let you know that the end result of that was that the National Museum of African American History and Culture joined 24 new members as a result of Reverend Moss's ask, and we sent them collectively $3,900, which, listen, I know that that's a drop in an ocean, but it's for a small group of people in Houston, Texas. I think it's a good thing to do, and I think it's a sign that we are siding with love. A side effect of doing that is they sent, because of the way I joined, I got a lot of neat tchotchkes. And some of you might also have gotten neat tchotchkes, but because we joined at the level we joined at, we got probably more than some of you. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to sort of have a library system where you can borrow these books, because these books are beautiful. They are fantastic. These are very expensive books to have printed. They're all in full color, and they are, I mean, there's 5 pounds worth of words here. So if you're interested in going, including the guide to the museum, if you're interested in going up, the other thing that I got, because of the way I joined, backing up all of you folks, is I got free parking at the museum, which I'm pretty sure I'm not going to use this year. But if you are going to Washington, and if the National Museum of African American History and Culture is of interest to you, and you have a car that you would like to park, I would offer my free parking spot to you. So thank you very much for what you did and your support of something that clearly did not need to be attacked. I also have this nifty membership bag, which if one of you really likes, you can have, because I have 1,000 bags. And just as a coincidence, it was made by one of my clients. Back when I was managing pensions, I managed their pension. Isn't that funny? I just found that funny. Nice group of people. So, good work. Thank you very much. We are here together, and it is a wonderful thing. I just want to make a couple quick announcements. First is, after services today, we have new UU. If you're new to Emerson or new to UU, we'll meet up at the library. We also have inquirers going on, and I am supposed to run both of those sessions, so we will put them to. Oh, so we're not having. Okay. So listen, come. If you want to come to the new UU session, come. It'll be. We won't have snacks. Yes, there's a starvation problem, but beyond that, we will have the session. And we will also have the Inquirer session, which this week is on Covenant Circles. So we will do that after. If something does come up for you today, I'd like to do a talk back today. Angel, I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you if we can do a talk back today. Can we do talk back today? I don't know how to answer that. So if I say yes, will you say no? So then, no. Okay. So to my friends and to everyone joining on Facebook, we will do a talk back after, but due to technical limitations, we will have to sign off of this live stream, and we'll do the talk back in the service after. And then for those of you who are still a little new around here, many of us gather for lunch afterward. There's a sign outside to tell you where we're going for lunch. And last thing is if something does come up for you today in the service and you'd like to talk to someone about it, we have members of our lay pastoral ministry team here, and they are identified by a particular color name tag, which I can't remember, yellow. If you see a yellow name tag, feel free to just approach them. They are our lay pastoral ministry team. So without any further delay or announcements, I invite Charlie to bring us in. And Charlie's here today, folks. Charlie, yay. Artem is out gallivanting, doing whatever Artem does. Italy, doing what Artem does. So we have Charlie for a month, right, Charlie? It's just about a month? Great. The entire month. Awesome. Off you go.
In Unitarian Universalist Sunday churches like this one, and across the nation and across the world, we light a chalice at the start of worship and other gatherings. I would like to invite MC Swearingen to have the honor of lighting our chalice this morning. As MC lights our chalice flame here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you joining us from home or away on YouTube to light a candle or chalice of your own. In the words of Reverend Shari Woodbury, the light of the chalice represents the spark of the Spirit cupped in earth's embrace. It represents the light of love alive in all creation. And when we kindle the flame here in the presence of this beloved community, we rekindle our connection to the sacred web of life. When we light our chalice, we hear words of timeless wisdom to help center us for our time together. For the month of June, our chalice lighting words come from Layman Pang. Naiman Pang is a Buddhist layperson who lived 1,500 years ago. He was celebrated in the Chinese Zen tradition. He was considered to exemplify the potential for non-monastic Buddhist followers to live an exemplary life and be fully awakened. Here are his thoughts for today. Please join me in reading these words as they appear on the screen. My life used to be nothing but chopping wood and carrying water. But now that I have received enlightenment, I find that all that is necessary for me to live is to chop wood and carry water. We welcome you here today. We welcome you who come here for the first time, the 5th time, or the 500th time. We welcome you who come with a heavy heart or with joyous spirits. We welcome you to be with us as we experience the mysteries of a fully human life together. Please join me in our welcoming. The words are on the screen. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you find yourself on your life's journey, whichever your pronouns, whether you've walked in or rolled in or dialed in, whomever you love, you are welcome here.
My name is Reverend Ed, and I invite you into this place of peace, this place of community, this place of wisdom, and this place of wonder. I would like to offer you a chance right now to just take a moment to center yourself, to ground yourself in your presence in this place, with all those present both here in the sanctuary and all those joining us on YouTube. Together, we are the Emerson community. We invite you to allow yourself to breathe, to feel yourself sink into the seat below, to feel your back on the wood behind you, and feel your heart beat and your mind here, present in this room, connected in a real and valuable way. I invite you to do one of the hardest things you might be asked to do today. Just be. We will exit this moment of prayer or meditation or peace or whatever you want to call it. We will exit this moment with our voices raised to sing our first hymn. The words will be on the screen. When you feel the music start, feel free to stand or sit or sing or not sing.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change.
And now I invite you into one of the most sacred things we do here at Emerson. I invite you to participate in our candles of joy and sorrow. If you have entered this place today carrying a weight, carrying a concern, we invite you to come forward, light a candle, and bring that concern into the room and share it with those here in the room. If you come bringing a joy or a happiness, we invite you to come and bring that joy and that happiness into this room by lighting a candle. We invite you now to come forward and bring life to that which you are carrying with you. Friends, these tiny little flames on top of these skinny little candles represent the joys, the concerns, the weights, the loves, and the pain that we all carry around with us. Let us honor them by inviting them into this room and pay respect to them, because they are what makes us who we are on today. So we welcome them, we honor them, and we are very happy for them to be here with us here in this room. Now I invite Mary. No? Not yet. Oh. Now I invite Richard.
Thank you, Reverend Dad. Good morning. Good morning. From Frank Schulman's book of UU history, on the 27th of May in 1819, Julia Ward Howe was born in New York City. In 1843, she married Samuel Gridley Howe and moved to Boston. A poet and lecturer and the first president of the New England Woman Suffrage Association, Howe became famous for writing the poem Battle Hymn of the Republic, which was set to the tune for John Brown's Body, and became the theme song of the Union Army during the Civil War. The Howes were members of the Church of the Disciples, Unitarian, in Boston, and often preached there. Julia Ward Howe died on October 17, 1910. And on the 31st of May, 1743, William Emerson, the grandfather of Ralph Waldo Emerson, was born in Concord, Massachusetts. He graduated from Harvard in 1761 and taught school in Roxbury. He decided on the ministry and was ordained and installed on January 1st, 1766, as minister of First Parish, Unitarian, in Concord. He married Phoebe Bliss, the daughter of First Parish's previous minister. Emerson was a learned and effective and well-loved pastor. On April 19th, 1776, the Minutemen were organized to fight in the revolution against England, and Emerson appeared promptly, gun in hand, when the first alarm sounded. He became their chaplain and was with them during battles. He died on October 20th, 1776, of camp fever, which was probably typhoid or dysentery. Reverend Ed?
Each time we are gathered here together, we perform, we participate in rituals, and we hear words of history, and we sing beautiful music. We also hear words of wisdom. And today's words of wisdom come from Nyogen Senzaki. Nyogen Senzaki was one of the early Zen Buddhist monks who came to the United States and didn't turn around and leave, which is what a lot of them did. Nyogen Senzaki was one of the people upon whom, I didn't write this down, so I'm drawing a blank, on the road, what was his name? Kerouac. Kerouac and that whole bunch of people were into. This quote comes from his 1957 Zen classic called Zen Flesh, Zen Bones, which is really he didn't really write it, it's a collection of other Zen stories. So I picked this one because it's called The First Principle, which I found interesting from a church with principles. Right? In the Obaku Temple in Kyoto, carved over the gate are the words, "The First Principle." The letters are unusually large, and those who appreciate calligraphy always admire them as being a masterpiece. They were drawn by Kosen 200 years ago. When the master Kosen drew them, he did so upon paper from which workmen made the larger carvings in wood. As Kosen sketched the letters, a bold pupil of his was with him, who made several gallons of ink for the calligraphy, and who never failed to criticize his master's work. "That's not good," he told Kosen after the first effort. "How is that one?" "Poor, Worse than before, pronounced the pupil. Kosen patiently wrote one sheet after another until 84 first principles had accumulated, still without approval from the pupil. Then the pupil stepped outside for a few minutes. Kosen thought, now's my chance to escape his keen eye. And he wrote very hurriedly, with his mind free from distraction. He wrote the first principle. And when the pupil came back into the room, he declared it a masterpiece. And now I invite Mary Cochran to bring us into our offering.
The community of faith, reason, and affection welcomes all to grow in mind and spirit as we build a better world. We remind you of it each week by stating it right on the front of your order of service. We live out our purpose in many different ways. We worship together, we learn together, we lobby together, and we spread our faith through our actions. We also give our time, talent, and treasure to partners in Houston and across the nation and the planet who we feel are living out our purpose in ways that we only wish we could. We support those partners each week at this time in our service. 75% of today's offering will go to our June Share the Plate recipient, the Montrose Center. The Montrose Center empowers our community, primarily lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer individuals and their families, to live healthier, more fulfilling lives. They are working toward a healthier society marked by permanent, positive changes in attitude and behavior towards the LGBTQ communities and the ability of all LGBTQ individuals to realize their fullest potential. The remaining 25% of today's offering will go to Interfaith Ministries Meals on Wheels, which provides thousands of meals every day to Houston's homebound seniors. You can go to our webpage for giving, or put a cash or check in the offering baskets, or mail a check to the church. The words for our second reading today come from the book of Exodus 33, 18 through 20. This comes from the Message paraphrasing. Moses said, "Please let me see your glory." God said, "I will make my goodness pass right in front of you. I'll call out the name God right before you. I'll treat well whomever I want to treat well, and I'll be kind to whomever I want to be kind." God continued, "But you may not see my face. No one can see me and live."
And with that, we're going to talk about God today. You can't see me and live. Well, that's convenient, isn't it? First, when we talk about God, we have to keep a couple of things in mind. If something as big as God, I'm going to just say that something as big and something as wonderful as God probably transcends human constructs like gender and number and age. Now, language sort of handcuffs us where we have to use things like he and she and whatever, but I don't think that when we get into the nature of God, gender and number are meaningful descriptions. Unitarian Universalism also has no prescribed notions of God. Unitarian Universalism has no prescribed notions of God's existence, and it has no prescribed notions of God's nature. As a Unitarian Universalist minister, I will tell you, having a prescribed definition of God would certainly be handy from time to time. I would love to be told what God is so that I can tell you what God is, but alas, that is not to be. You will have to work that out on your own. And I know a lot of you have. So as we walk into this morass of God together, I'm going to ask for 5 favors of you. The first is, if something seems odd or wrong or hard, go ahead and try it on anyway. Imagine you're at a retail clothing store and you see something like maybe a velvet pink jacket, and you say, "Well, I could never wear that." You're right, you probably never could. No one can. But go ahead, try it on anyway. See how it goes. Second favor I would ask of you is to think both and rather than either or. Just because I may be right about something does not mean you are wrong about that thing, or even that I'm suggesting that you're wrong. We just have different interpretations of the same idea. The third favor I would ask of you is to come at this with an intent to learn or to grow rather than an intent to control. Don't need to be right if you can at all muster that. That's a tough one, I know, but just give it a try. The fourth favor I would ask of you is to look at how you're feeling as a clue to what you think, not the other way around. And then the fifth thing I would ask of you is to allow it to be messy. Because the discussion of God is just plain old messy. We don't know. There's not a place where you can go. Everybody has different opinions on what God is and what God isn't. So, let's start out with this. God gets a bad rap. God gets blamed for war, hurricanes, floods, the Patriots winning the Super Bowl. I remember, I got that one right. I'm a Boston Red Sox fan, and I'm not embarrassed to say that. And I remember Big Papi, right, one of the hitters on this, twice on the chest and up to God, right? And I remember thinking to myself, okay, so God wanted you to hit a home run, and what is the pitcher who threw the pitch that you just threw thinking about what God wants in this moment? And I'll come back to the Big Papi thing because I've had a change of heart on that. And while we're talking about baseball, you pick up on the slide right in there. While we're talking about baseball, I want to talk about what's normal because both of my daughters are here today. And while we're on the topic of baseball, it is no surprise at all that both of my daughters ended up liking baseball because it was on the TV all summer long. We did it, we played it, it was baseball was everything. So it's not a surprise that my kids ended up liking baseball. As a matter of fact, we were just at the Rays game Astros game, just 2 or 3 nights ago. We did go to the game where the Rays did not totally wipe out the Astros. We went to the one that the Rays lost. So what I'm getting at with regard to the baseball and the family thing is that what's normal for you, many of the things that you believe or trust weren't even put there by you. They were put there by someone else, by culture, by something. I imagine that had my daughters grown up in a family where they watched a lot of soccer, they would have loved soccer, right? That's just the way it would have gone, I would think. So what's normal has an influence on how you frame life's issues, even though you may not think that it's normal. Does that make sense? So what I'd like to do right now is something that I don't normally do, but I'd like to invite you to make yourselves a little bit comfortable, and we're going to enter into a slightly short, meditative, and visioning session together. I'm going to ask you to let your cognitive mind take a break if you can. I know that's difficult for some of you. Let your cognitive mind take a break. And we're going to do a mental visual Rorschach test. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read some words to you. And I want you to think about what you see when I say these words. What flashes through your mind when I say supreme being? What flashes through your mind when I say higher power? What flashes through your mind when I say God? And now, without changing your position, I'd like you to do this. Instead of thinking about what you see, tell me what you feel when I say these words. Reflect, don't tell me, you don't have to blurt it out. Reflect to yourselves on what you feel when you hear these words. What do you feel when I say supreme being? What do you feel when I say higher power? What do you feel when I say God? And I'd like you to slowly welcome your cognitive mind back into the room. And now I'd like to ask you a couple questions. So what did you see? Had you been raised in a Muslim world, would you have seen the God on the Sistine Chapel? Would that have even been possible for you? So much of what we think about our gods wasn't put there by us. I call it God baggage. I've been into a lot of conversations with a lot of people about God, and I'll tell you that so many of them flip at some point in the conversation, and the person that I'm talking to ends up telling me about the God they don't believe in. Most of the time, because of where we are and when we are, it's focused on the Judeo-Christian God, who I will admit seems to be a real jerk at times. And oftentimes it is a really dumbed down edition of God. Sometimes it's fear. God is fear. Heffalumps and woozles. Sometimes God that we don't believe in is a divine ATM machine, the prosperity gospel. Don't worry, God wants you to be wealthy. And sometimes the God that we don't believe in is our comic best friend, where we have a personal relationship with God. And then we often get the holy echo chamber, where when we yell into the echo chamber, your God always seems to agree with you. If your God always agrees with you, I have a hint, that ain't God. I had a dream once about God, and I don't know what I was dreaming of. I don't remember anymore, but I remember distinctly God was Queen Latifah, the actress. Do you know Queen Latifah? Yeah, and she has a way of just going, we ain't doing that. And that's what God was doing to me. God was standing there going, we're not doing that. And I called her the God of lighthouses, because she was there flashing a signal for me. Don't come any closer. Don't do that. This is how I thought of God in that particular moment. Does that mean I think that Queen Latifah is God? No. I do like Queen Latifah quite a bit more than most people, and that's probably a reason why it was her in that dream of mine. Speaking about dreams, let's go back to that visioning thing that we just did. So I asked you what you saw. Now tell me what you felt, right? How much of what you felt was God baggage? How much did you put there? Remember, as Unitarian Universalists, we are working on a set of principles. And our fourth principle asks us to engage in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Free and responsible, truth and meaning. So what would your gods look like, unencumbered by your own God baggage? And why should you even bother getting into this conversation with yourself? Why does it matter? Well, let me give you a couple reasons why it matters. First is when you look for this understanding about God, you are looking for an understanding about yourself first. Because we all look for God through lenses, through the lens of our experience. That's why I said earlier about if you were raised in a Muslim household, would you have seen the God of the Sistine Chapel? Probably not, because that's not an experience that you would have had. So you see God, you feel God through your own experiences, through your life experiences as well. So you do it for your own personal growth. The big reason why I think finding a definition of God is important is because the one thing you do when you seek out a definition of God, or the one thing you do when you seek out an awareness of God, is you make it clear to yourself that the one thing you agree that God isn't is you. And if that's the only thing you accomplish in doing this, you will have done yourself a huge favor. Being in a world where there is something more powerful than you is a beautiful thing, at least as far as I'm concerned. So all of this God baggage, you see, tends to put us into discussions about the existence of God that are dualistic. You have to choose yes or no. And I'm telling you, you do not have to choose yes or no. That's forcing you into a fake question, a question that does not need to exist. And traditional discussions about the nature of God are the same way. Does God love everyone, or does God not know we're here? Yep. What matters to you is what matters to you. So people, as a minister, people ask me, they say, do you think there is a God? And if I hear that question, I say, do I think there is a God? I go through all the possible questions, and I end up with, no, I don't think there's a God. I can't get to a point where I can think about God's existence. But if you ask me, do I feel there is a God? Then I say, yes, I feel there's a God. I can't prove it. I don't know how to prove it. I don't even think there's even a point in trying. But do I believe in God? Yeah, I do. But that's for me. Right? So for me, the gods are something I feel. I feel them through myself. I feel them through all of you. I feel them in connection and even in my disconnection with the larger world. Do I believe in God? I do. And the good thing about that is it causes you to wrestle, or causes me to wrestle with parts of my life that I'm not even aware of. The one thing for sure that I know is that it ain't me. And that's an important thing for me. Because I think when you slip into the idea that you are the most important thing, you run into some trouble, don't you? So decentering the individual, decentering myself, and connecting with something larger than myself takes a while. It's not easy, but it's a good activity to work through. So I loved the picture on the front of the order of service today. And the way we work the pictures, by the way, is I put the service title on there, and Barbara Elmore, who's not here today, draws a picture. And sometimes they make sense, sometimes they don't. There are different interpretations of the same thing. But I thought that this picture was just so spot on fantastic. The mind of a child looking under the carpet for God, saying, it's got to be here somewhere. I just thought that picture was so beautiful and so wrapped up the topic for today that whenever she sent it last week, I just thought, oh my God, that is just kismet at work right there. So I invite you into your own exploratory process with regard to the existence or the non-existence of God. Is God science for you? Is God the God of Michelangelo? You need to make those decisions for yourself, and I ask you to make those decisions for yourself. I don't even care if you get to a decision. The thing that I would love for you to do is to go through the process. And if you can do that, I think you will lead a richer and more wonderful life. And that is the message for today, folks. May you find God even if he's hiding under a carpet. And with that, I invite you to rise with our choirette and sing our second hymn. The words will be on the screen. I would like to invite MC Swearingen to come and extinguish our chalice. Did we tell you you were going to do this? Did we tell you Did we tell you we were going to ask you to extinguish the chalice? Yes. Oh, good. Okay, good. You kind of had this look on your face like, oh, I don't know what to do. Our time together, my friends, is coming to a close. We have heard the words, we have heard the music, and we have sung the songs that bring us into community. But our time is coming to a close, but our work is not. This faith is not an easy faith. We don't have simple answers, and we have a lot of questions. But the questions are how we grow. It is in the questions that we find and hold the spark of eternal life in all. May we, in the course of our week to come, keep love at the center of our lives, keep love at the center of our thoughts, and keep love at the center of our actions. May our shared values of interdependence, pluralism, justice, transformation, generosity, and equity guide us in our every decision. May we have the strength to do all of this and to have fun doing it, and may our lives be our best worship. Amen? Now, in